generate the kind of jobs that have transformed places like China and Southeast Asia. But what is to be done? And here there are basically three big and not very original prescriptions, but we try and give them some texture. One is you need deeper domestic reform, both to remedy the weaknesses in manufacturing, but also to consolidate the strengths in services. Second, and people have asked about RCEP, what does it mean? I don't think the biggest challenge is international cooperation, the biggest challenge is domestic reform, but international cooperation can help to spur domestic reform and to secure access to foreign markets. There is a cost to being left out, because then you pay tariffs where other people don't when you're exporting. And finally, that in order for trade to stay open, cooperation must go beyond trade to encompass areas like data flows, competition, and taxation. Now, I don't want to crowd out my colleagues, so I'm not going to present the rest of this in great detail. I will present it like a movie where the slides are going to move really quickly. And if you're interested, I'll come back to the rest in more detail later. So let me quickly present to you some of the evidence that we have in the report. We looked at firm level data, very detailed data of individual firms. In India, of course, this data was somewhat constrained, but what is striking is that firms which import to export tend to be more productive than firms that do not trade or just import or just export. As I said, the biggest boost to growth comes in that first transition to basic manufacturing from commodities. Subsequent transitions into more advanced manufacturing, into innovative activities help, but they are less powerful in terms of the incremental burst to growth. It is true that many firms that participate in global value chains are more capital intensive, and that raises a concern. If they are more productive and they use more machines, do they generate less jobs? The answer turns out to be no. Because they are more productive, they grow faster and are associated with faster growth in employment. In a country like Vietnam, we were able to look at global value chain participation across sub-regions. And those are the sub-regions where global value chain participation was greatest, saw the fastest reductions in poverty, because they were able to generate a faster growth and better jobs. This is the story of India. India saw an increase in global value chain participation, but whereas the average levels of global value chain participation are more than 50% for the world, India's is less than 40%. That's a first measure of underachievement. The second and most striking is that when countries, every country took off at a certain point. Korea in the 1970s, China in the 80s, let's say India in the 80s also. If you put every country at zero, and you say what kind of growth rate did you see of apparel and leather products, you see that the other countries saw growth rates of 25